Very welcome students to the class of software engineering and project management. We are going to see today on the date 11th August 2020, 12:30 p.m. The uh, last what you can say lecture of unit number 5. If it won't get covered in this lecture, then this may be the last but one lecture. Okay, so let's start with the uh, this lectures are unit software testing, and we are going to see in detail what is software testing and how it actually affects the entire working of the software engineering and project management. So in till yesterday's lecture, we have seen all the testing methods and likewise so then the project scheduling, is after estimation models. Now, once this project scheduling and everything is there, in software testing and something risk is there which required to be identified. Software is a product, and when we say software is a product, there is always something what we can call as the risk associated with the product, because product need to be sold on the market, and if you are selling a product in the market, there are always the risks. So we are going to see what are these risk management, that is reactive risk management and the proactive risk management strategies. Then what are the different risk identification in and that for that purpose we are going to see software risk categories and the generic subcategories of the risk, and then how we are going to assess overall project risk by asking few questions or by answering some questions questionnaire for identifying the different risks and likewise. So let's start with this thing. So, what is a risk? That is, so when you consider risk in the context of software engineering, this charts three conceptual underpinnings. They are always in evidence, and we have the first thing. What is risk? Future is your concern. Okay, so this is the first thing. So what risk might cause the software project to go awry, or what you can say a project go failure, your product may not get sold in the market, you won't get the proper response from your customers and likewise. That is what we can say concern. So whenever we want something, we always concern about our future. For example, right now you are given the CAE 2. I haven't yet checked anyone's paper due to the extra work or of extra other academic work. Today I'm going to check those papers. But almost every one of you are having that concern of future. What I will, okay, I solved the paper. Okay, what sir is going to say give the marks, how sir is going to check that and likewise. So what you can say future is always our concern. Yes, so what will be the result of my work done, that is what we call as a concern, and this concern happens as a risk, because say suppose you haven't studied well and you simply comes at 11th hour to give the paper, what will happen? Obviously in that case, if you come to give the paper, okay, at what you can say, just a minute, just have to check something first. uh, So if you are not done things in a correct way, okay, if you are not done things in a correct way, what will happen? Obviously, if the things are not done in correct way, your concern for your future will be more. That you will consider that what will happen exactly. So if you don't appear to an exam without any study, then you will always have the concern, or there is always a risk of failure. Now, if you studied well and everything and paper gone well, there is always the minimal risk of failure. The second risk, that is what you can call as a change is your concern. Let's say suppose you decided at early stage of your career after passing the 12th to go for this engineering, by dreaming that once you become the computer engineer you will get a job with a hefty lump sum income. But suddenly something happened. Right now, due to the COVID and other things, many industries are facing too many problems, and there is a very what you can say tough competition now to get a job. Okay, so the change is what the concern. So even if you are having the proper degree, proper expertise and something, if you have the more competition, okay, or if in future there comes some competition to your business or your software, there will be some what you can say damages in your profit, or there may be some something which may not be in favor of you, and that is what we call as a concern. So we always resist the change due to this, and that is what we call as a risk. So what first thing, that is you have to secure your future by doing the good plan, and then trying to stick with that plan. But your plan should have to be flexible. A rigid plan is always what you can say the doorway to unsuccess. Okay. Now the third thing, that is this, that is you must grapple with choices. So what is grapple with choices? Every girl and every boy grapple with the choices. Okay, from their say yes, when it comes to choosing the life partner. Yeah. So in the same way, you have to grapple with the choices when you go on choosing the proper career or proper software development and likewise. So you must grapple with choices, means the what methods and tools should you use. And many times what happen, even if you work on some type of project, that project is not what you can say accepted by the market even after it's having the quality. So you have to be very what you can say clear about how much emphasis that you are going to give on the quality. Okay, so simple thing is that quality is the essential part of your product or a software. Quality is the essential part of anything that you want to achieve. But apart from quality, there are many other factors that also need to be you can say satisfied. And so simply concentrating on only one part is not sufficient, and that is also called as the risk management. So you require to take the 360-degree of what you can say the review or 360-degree observation of your entire what you can say the project. So while it is a fertile to try to eliminate risk, many time what happens just to eliminate risk. Now let me define risk first before going further. So just consider, right now we are having the COVID-19 situation. So you know what is risk. Say suppose you go to the grocery market to bought some grocery. What is the risk? There is a risk that you may get infected by COVID-19. Okay. So you are just walking on the road. There is a risk that you may fail without any reason. Huh? I- this may happen that you are just walking on the road, and this is a rainy season, so road is slippery, and you may lose your balance and you fail on the road, and your clothes may get thick. So what is risk? Okay, you are just walking by the street, and someone on the motorbike come, and he lose control on his motorbike and simply dashes you. What is risk? Risk is something which is what we call as an unwanted happening. Okay, which always damage the future course of your what you can say project or whatever you are doing or your activity. So when we say risk, if you want to eliminate risk, means you want to eliminate the risk of accident, you want to eliminate the risk of contamination, you want to eliminate the risk of everything. There is only one place where if you stay there, you will have no risk, and that is what I'm going to call it as a home. Okay, because even if you are at home, there are many risks. Only dead person is risk free. Okay, he won't have any risk of accident or day dying and like that. So it is always fertile to try to eliminate risk. You require to manage the risk. I mean, sometimes it is questionable to try to minimize it. Okay, because in some cases you should have to take the risk. For example, when a electricity wireman, okay, person climb on that poles to feed your electricity, he is always risking his life. He is taking all the measures of the security, but still he is risking his life. When you are saying someone working in ammunition, you can say factories, they are always taking risk while working on that. Scientists are always taking risk. Virologists and other thing, when they are working on some type of vaccine and likewise, they are actually taking a risk of their life. Yes, so you can't minimize the risk in some cases. So what you can do, you should have to manage the risk. Means what is management? You must have to take care. For example, in every one of us is having a gas cylinder. Okay, in our home, we are cooking on it. Yeah, daily basis. But you know, a gas cylinder where a pressurized LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, is there in the cylinder, it's with a very high pressure, is nothing but a live bomb. Is nothing but a live bomb. A blast can kill many people. Okay, but still we are doing that. Why? We are managing the risk by taking certain measures, certain type of what you can say things. For example, whenever we walk on the road or whenever we drive on the road, what we are taking, we are always taking the risk of accident. And how we are avoiding that risk of accident? We are actually not avoiding. How we manage that risk of accident? Just by remaining completely alert. Okay, so you are trying to observe the entire incoming traffic, outgoing traffic, likewise, and then you are doing those things. So risk is something what you can say, it is an undividable part of our life. So if you are living being, if you are a living being, I am repeating this, if you are a living being, you always have a risk. Okay, so for example, if I am a living being, okay, then I have a risk that the another breath may not happen. Yes, so risk is something which is a very integral part of our life. So risk is also the integral part of a business. For example, let's say suppose you decided to start, don't take risks otherwise, but let's consider that you decided to start a business of vada pav. Okay, McDonald actually have the franchisee chain of its what they call in English burger. Okay, we in Marathi call this vada pav. Let's say suppose we started the business of vada pav. Okay, we created, we cook 100 vada pavs, open our stall. What is the risk now? Stall is open, but we are not having a proper licenses. Then the what you can say legislation may what you can say throw our shop into what we call as a debris. Customer won't like our vada pav, so no customer may come, and all 100 vada pavs will go vary. So the same thing, vada pav is a product, software is also a product. So if you are in an industry, software industry, you created some software. Okay, even if a software is a very intelligent software, it is a product and it is equivalent to vada pav. So selling vada pav, selling Mercedes, and selling software is how no different at all. Okay, there is no different at all. It is a product, and every product have this risk with it. Every product is have, every business owner is have the concern about the future, whether his business will grow or not. Okay, and so to grow his business he required to take the risk. Okay, is how to again he have the concern, that is what will happen if the government changes the policy, if the local changes the policy, and likewise. Okay, so change is also the concern. Then that person required to grapple with the choices. Yes, so as per that what can say liking and technology, advancement in technology and the environment and something, you should have to make changes in your business as well as in your product. So sticking with one product only is not the best what you can say way out for any business, and for a software industry it is certainly. For example, let's say suppose if you created a website for certain thing and you keep that website as it is without any updates for the last few years, how many people are going to visit that website? No one. So obviously its popularity goes down. So whenever you are running any type of software, you require to update that software with the recent advancements. Likewise, you require to advertise it, you require to offer the free services, you require to do many things just to keep your customer, with your product. And so that is what we call as must grapple with the choices. And so risk management, so if you want to eliminate the risk, there is a simple statement in a business: more risk, more profit. So if you eliminate the risk, you are eliminating the profit, means you are actually eliminating the entire business. So if you minimize the risk, you minimize the profit. Then what you can do, you should have to manage the risk. So risk is simply what you can say, something, what we can say, unwanted happenings in whatever course we decided for our success. Unwanted happenings, matlab, let's say suppose you want to go from Pune to mm, Delhi by plane, and plane goes from Pune to Delhi, and you just reach into Delhi without any problem. Now you want to return back from Delhi to Pune by plane, but suddenly weather goes awry. Okay, so you have to stop somewhere, and the plane, day before yesterday in Kerala, that on tabletop air 191 passengers were there, two died and like something. Yes, so this is what we call as a risk. So there is always what we call as a risk, means uncertainty in our life. Uncertainty in every activity of our life is a risk. So risk is nothing but our life. Yes, you can't eliminate it. You can't what you can say, minimize it. Minimizing risk means minimizing life. If you want to live, if you want to give maximum, you should have to manage the risk. Now there are two ways of managing this risk. One is called as reactive risk, another is called as proactive risk. Now, what is reactive risk? Indiana Jones School of Risk Management, this given by Tho in 92. So if you are familiar with the Hollywood pictures, then that uh, there is a actor whose pictures Indiana Jones is quite popular. There are two or some 4 5 series pictures are there. Indiana Jones strategy. What that strategy says, that it says that 11th hour solution, means let's see what will happen. We'll do the things without any planning, and that is called as a reactive risk. मतलब आगे वाले ने आपको कुछ बोल दिया, तो without thinking for a next minute you just react to that person. Okay, so in these movies that carried his name, Indiana Jones, whenever it's faced with any difficulty, he say that is, don't worry, I will think of something. Means okay, so never worrying. This Indiana Jones is also shown in our Three Idiots. Say that is a no problem, all is well, like that. But it is not the something you require to have the planning. Not all people are genius. Yes, so an average person like you and me should have to have a proper planning for execution of anything, and must have to be ready for any type of emergency. So this more commonly, this software team does nothing about risk until something goes wrong. Okay, that is what we call as the reactive risk. So you are simply considering that because nothing is happened wrong with you till date, means nothing is going to happen, nothing wrong is going to happen with you. Now when we say this, nothing is going to happen wrong with me in the future because till date nothing wrong is happened, is what we call as the blindness. Okay, so as soon as you drop down your alertness, what you can say, you become vulnerable to uncertainties, and those uncertainties then can hamper the complete course of your life or complete course of your business or complete course of your project development cycle and likewise, and that is what we call as the reactive risk strategy. So never drop down that. So here this is often called as firefighting mode. So firefighting mode means when this fails, crisis management takes over and the project is in real jeopardy. So simple thing, firefighting mode means, for example, let's consider. I must not have to give this example, but sometimes we should have to talk on reality. We are having every rainy season a heavy rain, okay, and we are having Mumbai, Pune, like these cities are there, and so many time water actually submerge these cities in, and people becomes quite what you can say, uh, lives, people's lives go into what you can say that very risky situations. To avoid this, we haven't yet created any permanent solution. Okay, permanent solution is not possible, but at least some stable solution which can I can say manage this risk and likewise. So these are what you can say. So generally, what happens? Things happens, and then you go on disaster management or what we call as the crisis management. And disaster management is always something which actually throw everything into the real jeopardy. Just take the example of that cyclone, Nisarga cyclone, which happened in Maharashtra few weeks ago. Okay, and it actually caused very much damage to the western, what can I say, region of the Maharashtra. Yes, so that is what we call, and now we are doing what the crisis management. So this is what say. Now, what is proactive strategy? This begins long before technical work is initiated, or I can say the proactive strategy means you actually go with a plan. Okay, your every what you can say movement is calculated. So what proactive strategy says that okay, we are having a particular type of project in our hand, our customer is there, market is there, and we require to deliver this in thing. We are working here and we require electricity power. There may be a hike in electricity, and hike in electricity may cause damage to our electronics equipment. So let's use the voltage stabilizer so that whatever hike happens into the electricity may not percolate to our electronic devices. And likewise, so what we can do, you are taking all the measures. So if you are going into the war, okay, you are wearing every possible tool, okay, or every possible protective measures so that you will get less damage from the enemy and you will get more advantage over the enemy. That is what we call as a proactive strategy. It is not something which you are actually trying to do on the 11th hour. So proactive strategy of one person who is doing or say exercise daily 1 hour. After 365 days, he actually completed 365 hours exercise. So after 1 year, you will find he is having a quite good physique. The one person is doing 365 hours, impossible in 24 hours, no. Yes, so if you do 8 hours of exercise on a single day, what will happen? Next day you will find that person in a hospital. So that person who is doing all the exercise at once is a reactive strategy of risk management, and the person who know how to do those things in parts or with planning is called as a proactive strategy. So proactive strategy involves planning and sticking to the planning, which is called as a courage in extreme programming. So once you've decided a planning for development of your software, you stick with that planning, and no matter what happens, you somehow try to meet the deadlines with the planning. Okay, and that is what we call as a proactive strategies. Proactive strategies try to visualize every type of what you can say mishap that may going to happen into the entire process, and to avoid those mishap or to what you can say get very less impact of that mishaps on our project development, we create a particular plan or we create a cushion of security or safety, and that is what we call as a proactive strategy. So obviously these are the two strategies that we are having. Now how to identify this risk? So this always involves two characteristics. One, uncertainty. Every risk, no matter what, is always uncertain. I don't know, you don't know, no one know when and where he or she is going to die. Do you know? No, nobody. Even the astrologers who gives the predictions, they don't know when they are going to die. Yeah. So simple thing is that is the first thing. Uncertainty is the first characteristic of the risk, and second characteristic is the loss. Risk always gives you, if it happens, consequence of risk is always the loss. Okay. So, whenever the risks are analyzed, it is important to quantify. Now, but thing in business, it says that if there is more risk, there is more profit, and I am saying here the loss. But when there is more manageable risk, then there is more profit. This is what you can say in a complete words. Now, different categories of risk. Now, let's say what are the categories. First is the project risk. These risks are those risks which actually threatens the entire project plan. That is, if project risks become real, it is likely that the project schedule will slip and that cost will increase. Best example of this project risk is the BCPL project, Basic Computer Programming Language project, undertaken by AT&T, Bell Lab, and other what you can say Fortune 500 companies at that time. Okay, Dennis Ritchie and other people were the part of that project. Project was so big, so big, so big that though all involved parties found almost what you can say difficult to meet all the deadlines, and after 2 3 years of continuous working on the project, the team started to fall apart. All the teams involved in that project started to fall apart. When they started to fall apart, the BCPL project actually divided into three parts. One part is called as the project B, one part is called as a project C or C project, and you know that C project means C language, designed and developed by Dennis Ritchie. And the next project become the PL or programming language project, which actually designed the COBOL and other like of thing. While the B becomes the basic computer language, that interpretive language. You know, GW basic, Visual basic, and other things. This. So this is what we can say the project risk. A project risk means it can threaten the entire project plan. Second risk type of this actually, so whenever you actually want to minimize, or if you want to take maximum benefit from your project, you should have to consider your project in a smaller size, because if size is bigger it become quite difficult to handle. Okay, so project risk identifies this thing. Potential budgetary, first thing. Vitamin M or money is always there. Schedule, then personal and organizational staffing. Okay, what are the different resources that are available, what the stakeholder of companies have, and the requirements problems. These are the few things that you require to concern with the project risk. Generally, the project complexity, is size, and degree of structural uncertainty are the what you can say major factors in a project failure. Okay, so the next risk is the technical risk. This threaten the quality and timeliness of the software to be produced. Now, what is technical risk? A person who is working on the particular project may not be technically competitive, and that can cause this technical risk, or you can say that problem with the technical risk. So the specification ambiguity, something is not clearly mentioned, and that case you can say it is a specific technical risk. Okay, then the business risk. You created a very good software, but there are already few softwares available which are free, or you can say which are competing with you, and that can create the business risk. Okay, so business risk that even if you build an excellent product, as mean that nobody wants, you can't sell that product. Means if I come up with a Mercedes Benz, Okay, or if I come with say Cadillac or something like a thing, and I want to sell that in a slum area, no one, you will not get the buyer. Obviously you will not get the buyer because none of them is having the sufficient economical strength. So the product and market require to map, what you can say, map. You have to map the product with the market, and you have to map the market with the product to minimize or manage the business risk. Building a product that no longer fits into the overall business strategy for the company, that is also the strategic risk. Okay, for example, you keep on building some products which are not accepted by the market, and they are also not no longer fits into the overall business strategy of the company. In that case, such product can jeopardize the entire business process or business. Then building a product that the sales force doesn't understand how to sell, sales risk. Say suppose you created a very good software, software is on data analysis and artificial intelligence, but your salesmen don't understand that. Okay, your marketing agent don't understand that, how to actually explain that product or how to sell that product to the people in a market. Then you may get the sales risk. So even if your product is good, product won't get more customer. Okay, best example for this is the Tata Nano. Tata actually created a very good small car, but what happens? Something goes wrong in marketing, and it's going with the sales risk. Then fourth is losing the support of senior management due to a change in a focus or change in people. Management risk means happens. Sometimes you remain favor of the upper management. Sometimes you won't remain favorable of the upper management because their focus or the people in the management may change, and that is one part in a business. Losing budgetary or the personal commitment. Sometimes you may not get the sufficient finance to design and develop your software, or sometimes you simply won't what you can say find the software interesting enough to develop what can say rigorously, and that also called as a budget risk. Okay, so if you go with this risk, you are having the three risks, that technical risk, business risk, and product risk. There are some other general categorization of risk. These are proposed by this chart. One is called as a known risk. Known risk means the risk which you already know. For example, whenever you go on the road, you know there is a risk of falling down, there is a risk of accident, there is a risk of getting infected by some people. So that is what we call as a known risk. That can be covered by, means you can take care. For example, right now you are in the COVID situation. There is a risk of infection. You can use the proper mask and the sanitization. There is a risk of slipping on the road. You can use what can say shoes of proper grip, so that even if you are on a muddy road, you won't slip on the road easily. And there is a risk of what you can say the accident. So you can, whenever you walk on the road, you can follow the rules of what you can say road safety, so that your accident happening probability becomes lesser, and that is what we call as a known risk. The in software in the product point of view, known risk means you created the software, and if it is purely documented, no one going to understand that. Then you have to document it properly, and likewise, so he says that these are those that can be uncovered after careful evaluation of the project plan. So known risks are the risks that we can manage very easily. Then there are something what is called as a predictable risk. Predictable risks are what we call as extrapolated from past project experience. Let's say suppose someone created a project, and that project you have created the similar project, and likewise, then turnover, poor communication, and other thing, you can identify the what you can say mistake done by that person or that business, and you can rectify those mistakes, and you can make your product more successful. That is what we call as a predictable risk. Then there are unpredictable risks. Unpredictable risks are what we call as the joker in the deck. You know that joker is in Hollywood pictures, cinematic verse, is considered as the most dangerous villain. In the same way, unpredictable risks are the most dangerous villain in our entire life, whatever business we are doing. Okay, for example, let's say suppose you are safely at your home, okay, and now and enjoying some pictures, and likewise and suddenly an earthquake happen, or let's say suddenly a lightning strike on your building, suddenly someone get heart attack in your family, suddenly something bad happened to you, suddenly something so you can say riots takes place, and someone actually lit up uh, your shop. Unpredictable, you don't know what going to happen and how when going to happen, who is going to do this and why they are going to do this, nature, people, anything. Okay, that is what we call as unpredictable risks. These are unmanageable because you never predicted them, so how you can plan to manage them? So that's why here comes the disaster management. Here comes the disaster. For example, that Nisarga cyclone, unpredictable risk. Yes, every farmer in India and worldwide are always facing this unpredictable risk because they don't know when the next rain is going to happen. They don't know when the rain is happening, whether it's going to stop in time or is going to continue. Okay, so they are actually facing this. Every person who is securing our country, whether it's a software engineer or what you can say, a military person, okay, he is always taking these unpredictable risks. Yeah, you don't know when and what is going to happen, so these unpredictable risks are something which are very dangerous, and they are extremely difficult to identify in advance. And so because they are extremely difficult to identify in advance, they are also extremely difficult to rectify or correct. So generally when it comes to unpredictable risks, you require to rely on the what we call say disaster management or crisis management after the risk. Okay, so risk identification is what it is a systematic attempt so specify threats to the project plan, what may happen with the estimate, schedules, resource loading, and likewise. So whenever you plan, you require to keep your plan flexible so that if the plan A fails, you have to go with the plan B. If it fails, you have to go with the plan C, and likewise. But if you go with the English alphabet, you are having only Z number of plans. But if you go with the numbers, okay, if your first plan fails, second fails, third fails, and it goes on infinite. Okay, but that is not, this is just a joke, but you should have to have at least two to three what you can say variable plans, so that if one fails, you can go with the another, and likewise. So that is what you call as a so systematic things in estimate planning. So by identifying these known and predictable risks, project manager takes first step toward avoiding them, or we can say making maximum profit by facing them. So there are two distinct types of risk for each of the software risk categories. So first is called a generic risk, or the potential threat to every software project, no matter what type of software you are having. This called as a generic risk, and this generic risk is generally related with the software life. Means as technology advances, some softwares goes in what you can say vacuum. For example, few years back there was some computer game called as Angry Bird. How many of you know the name of this Angry Bird? Now that game is almost nowhere. Okay, nobody's knowing. Few years back there was no PUBG. PUBG becomes quite popular. Before that PUBG there was that Pokemon augmented reality, but now Pokemon is nowhere. PUBG is actually started losing its popularity, and many people are not now playing the PUBG, and likewise. So that is called as a generic risk. Every product is having this generic risk, just not the software. Every product means product specific risk, means the type of product that you are creating. For example, if you go with the office softwares or desktop publication software like products, once upon a time Adobe was having this page maker nowadays is nowhere. Okay, that software becomes obsolete. There are so many software product softwares which become obsolete just because of the advancement in technology and other things. So that what's the understanding of technology, people, and environment, sometimes it fails. Best example of product specific risk is by the Nokia. Where is that company which actually once upon a time ruled the entire India in I think entire world also in mobile technology. Just they failed to identify that particular risk and no. So what special characteristics of this product may threaten our project plan that you require to identify? Yes, Aman Sarda, what's your question? If you raise the hand, kindly type your question in question answer. Okay, it's happened accidentally. So this what we are having. Then we are having this product size. This is associated with the overall size of the software to be built or modified. I have already given you the example of BCPL, okay, Basic Computer Programming Languages project, which failed just because of its sheer size. Then business impact. A product may you can say fails. Business impact is also the something. Okay. Then stakeholder characteristics. What type of stakeholders you are having for your business? If you want to know what is stakeholder characteristics, for example, if you go through the newspapers of few months or few 1 year, 1 or 2 years back, you are having that owner of cafe uh, coffee day. Okay, so that owner actually committed suicide uh, due to the हॅलो मॅडम लेक्चर चालू आहे माझं लेक्चर चालू आहे म्हटलं माझं Okay. So these stakeholder characteristics are there. So if you are having the loan shark and other people are type of you can say stakeholders, they can also jeopardize the entire business and your softwares. Process definitions are there. The process definition is associated with the degree to which these processes or software have been defined. For example, if you are having the ambiguous definition of the process of software development, that can also cause the problem. Development environment required to be user friendly, and that is the one thing that you require to uh, consider uh, when it comes to development environment. It's required to be user friendly and very good. Then technology to be built. Risks are associated with this complexity of the system, because sometimes what happens, the newness is not just the one thing that you require to consider. You also have your technology should have to be useful. Okay, and so that is also the time. And staff size and experience. Sometimes what happens, it's better to have a small but what you can say good team than having a big and full team. Okay, so staff size required to and the experience is there. So people who consider themselves extraordinary, okay, sometimes they are found to be extra space, very big space, ordinary, okay, in the project, so that then they can cause the staff size and what you can say the failure of the entire project. So whenever you hire the what you can say staff to design any software or something, you require to hire those people who are good, okay, in their thing. So what are, how you are going to identify the overall project risk? So these are the few questions that you require to ask whenever you go on creating a software or software product. So first is, how top software and customer managers formally committed to support the project? Simple answer, yes, no. If it is no, that means there is a risk in developing that particular project, leave it. Okay, if yes, you can ask the next question: are end users enthusiastically committed to the project and the system or the product to be built? If answer is yes, go for the next question. If it is no, leave the project. Okay. 3. Are requirements fully understood by the software engineering team and its customers? Again, you have the if loop, that is yes, no. Okay. Have customers been involved fully in definition of requirements while gathering the requirement analysis? Yes and no. Okay. Do end users have realistic expectations? Yes or no? If they have yes, if no, you have to leave the project. There is another way of instead of leaving the project, you can change the things, and once again you can put that to the managers, customers, and likewise to get the uh, answer as a yes for every question. Okay, so that is proactive strategy of the thing. So is the project scope stable? Yes or no? If it is yes, go with the project. If it is no, try to make the scope stable first, and then go with the project. So these are the total questions, 11 questions that the person require at, or a software developer need to ask before what you can say considering the entire project development. If for all 11 questions you get the yes or positive answer, you can say that your project development is very good. If you get negative answer, then you should and must have to make certain changes in your project plan or in your project definition or in the software explanation, and you have to represent, okay, represent your software product idea to the customer, stakeholders, everyone, to get yes from them for all these 11 questions. Once you get yes for all the 11 questions, you can say you manage the risks or identified the risks of the project very well, and now you can successfully build the particular project. Okay, so if you are having any questions or queries for this, you can ask right now. Okay, simply type your questions in the question and answers. So this final slide, that is okay. Thank you for your patience. So I say your future is defined by what you do today, not tomorrow. So obviously, if you fail to study today, you are not going to score tomorrow. If you fail to, I can say, do your work in a right way today, you are not going to do your work right in tomorrow. If you are doing everything right today, you are going to do those things right tomorrow, and that becomes your habit. Habit becomes what you can say personality, and personality becomes the what you can say the doorway of the success. So whenever we want to have something, so achieve something, you require to stick with a simple plan. uh, okay, and you have to create the plan, then you have to get the answers for that plan, yes as an answer for that plan, and then you have to stick with that for the entire thing. There are these last presentation slides on this software risk components and projection, but okay, 49 slides are there that we are going to cover now. Because no one asked me the question, I am assuming that you understood the things. So software engineering project management, we are going to see what are the risk components, what is the risk projection, how to developing a risk table, and what is assessing the risk. Okay, so let's see this. What is the risk components? These are defined in following manner. Performance risk, this is a risk where a degree of uncertainty that a product will meet and its requirement and be fit for its intended use. So you are actually trying to identify whether your product will meet all the market demands, and what is the uncertainty in the product's failure or success. Then the cost risk, the degree of uncertainty that the project budget will be maintained. Means sometimes what happens, we start our project with few rupees, then that few rupees get converts into the few thousand rupees, few thousand becomes few lakh, project never get completed, and that what happens. So what you can say, unnecessary what you can say, expansion or unnecessary growth or cost of the project can cause that project to go vary. So support risks are also there. Sometimes some people supports the project and then they own support. This may some happens maximum time by the stakeholders, sometimes by some technical people, and sometimes by the government's rules and regulation. Schedule risk is also there, the degree of uncertainty that the project schedule will be maintained. Okay, and these are the risk components and impact assessment of the risks. Here in risk components say that is there may be a catastrophic risk, the risks like earthquake and something natural calamities give these catastrophic risks, or due to some war like situations, or due to the war itself. Then you are having the critical risk, marginal risk, and negligible risk. So for this, you have to check performance, support, cost, and schedule. So if the risk is got catastrophic, you can't go for this complete thing. Okay, in a catastrophic risk, you can check performance, support, cost, or schedule, because generally, if the risk is catastrophic, nobody can help anybody, and that is what we call say catastrophic. Critical, you can still manage something, but it is nearer to catastrophic, what we call as critical. Marginal risks are the risks which you require to consider. And see, this table is adapted from the book of Roger Pressman, Software Engineering Practitioners Approach. Okay, then you are in the risk projection. This also called as a risk estimation. Means, for example, if you go on the road, you are going daily on the road. So, what is the risk that today, if you go on the road, or the probability, what we can say, that you are going to face, we can say the accident, like you may slip on the road just because of the muddy road or watery road. Okay, that is what we call as a risk estimation, or attempts to rate each risk in happening, likelihood or the probability that risk is real and will happen, or what will be the consequences of the problems associated with the risk should it occur. मतलब अगर कोई दुर्घटना हो जाती है, तो उसके बाद आपको क्या फेस करना पड़ेगा। ओके, आपको किस किस चीज़ को मुंह देना पड़ेगा, दैट यू रिक्वायर टू identify here. So the consequences are the likelihood of the risk that you require to consider. So when you go on these projections, managers and technical staff establish a scale that reflects the perceived likelihood of a risk that you should have to identify. Let's say suppose you are a toddler and you want to walk, what is the risk that on next step you will be fell down? Okay, maximum, because toddler don't know how to walk, but you are not a toddler, what is the risk that on the next step you will fall down? Very negligible, it's almost near to zero. That is what you can say establishing the scale. So based on your perform experience and other things, these risks required to, then you have to delineate the consequence of the risk. So by using some security measures and likewise, you have to estimate the impact of the risk on the project and the product. Then you have to assess the overall accuracy of the risk projections so that there will be no misunderstanding. Then you have to go on developing the risk table. For this, a risk table provides you with the simple techniques of risk projection. Sample risk, again, this is adapted from the book of Roger Pressman, Software Engineering, a Practitioner's Approach. So he says the risk size estimate may be significantly low. Category is given as a P as, okay, and probability is 60%, impact is 2. So you go on with this. So these go with the thing. So catastrophic, critical, marginal, negligible. So it says accordingly. Okay. So if you go through the books, developing risk, you have to reach all the table. Then each risk is categorized in. Uh, so you go with this different risk, project size risk, business risk, and likewise. Then probability of occurrence of each risk. Okay, this risk may happens twice in a day or twice in a year, likewise something. So two, three, four. Then what will be the impact of that risk? So this impact is considered in terms of the percentage loss. So 2% loss, 3% loss, 100% loss, like that. Okay, then categories for each four risks are there, and likewise. So when you go on developing such things, you have to accomplish the first order risk prioritization. So whatever the risks are there, which you can say you have to find out those risks which happens more often, and you have to what you can say eliminate those risks by creating the alert and measure security safety measures for the same thing. Then risks that fall below the cutoff line are you require to re-evaluate and accomplish the second order prioritization for them, and you have to minimize the impact of these risks or aftermath of these risks using again some risk then there are the third high impact risks with a moderate to high probability, and low impact risks are there that you require to change. Then you require to go with the risk mitigation, monitoring, and management plan. So once you go on with the mitigation, monitoring, and management plan, so sometimes you simply require to monitor the things, sometimes you require to manage the thing, sometimes you require to mitigate. So you require to have the planning for the risk. So what you are going to do for avoiding that risk? Okay, what you are going to do for what can say minimizing the impact of that risk, and likewise that you require to identify. So risk probability can be determined by this making individual estimates, and likewise, and the risk drivers means the factors for these things are there. So these are the values for the risk drivers: impossible, improbable, probable, frequent, likewise. So these are the things. Mathematical probability can also be considered with the risk, and likewise. So how we are going to assess the risk? The first three factors affect the consequences, and that you require to check. First is nature, scope, and timing. So what is the nature of the mishap, or what we call as a risk? What is the scope, or what will be the aftermath of it, and what time it's happened? So nature of the risk indicates the problem that are likely if it occurs. Scope of the risk combines the severity or aftermath, and timing of the risk consider when and for how long the impact will be felt or remain. So these things are required to consider. So you again we can apply these steps: determine the average probability of occurrence value for each risk component, then determine the impact for each component. Okay, and third, complete the risk table and analyze the risk. So if you go with the risk exposure here, RE, don't confuse this with the requirement engineering. Okay, RE here, the risk exposure is determined by this P Cartesian product C, where P is the probability and C is the cost that you have to pay if the risk occur. Okay, and you fail to manage it. Okay. So risk exposure can be computed for this each risk using the risk table, and you can go with this thing. It can also be used to predict the probable increase in staff resources, and likewise and something. The project team also required to revisit risk table at regular intervals, because every time you require to update that risk table, and it may be necessary to add new risks to the table, or you have to remove some risks which you actually what you can say successfully manage. And this is what we can say about your fifth unit. That is what you can say uh, end of the fifth unit. From next lecture onward, we are going to see the third unit, which is actually having only the advances in software engineering, and the part is the PERT and CPM. So you will get the notes for the PERT and CPM, and rest will only be the discussion. So that is as per the syllabus, only 3 hours are given to that. So we will try to engage 3 hours for that, and after the 3 hours of engagement in the sixth unit, we are going to revise the all 6 units for next 2 3 lectures, and we will complete our syllabus in a few days. If everything goes in a good way, then before 14th of August, okay, or as per the timetable by 20th of August. Thank you very much for listening me so carefully. I'm stopping sharing. If I know that I many time ask you people to raise questions if you are having anything, but you are not given any questions. So if you like the today's session, at least give me the thumbs up. Yes. and question answer box, or here also you can give the thumbs up. Okay. Okay, thank you. So I'm ending the training session. Thank you, Sriti. Thank you, Shiv Prasad. Thank you, Rona. Okay, and thanks.